Hi, I'm Libby Rome, and I live on cruise ships full time. Today, I'm breaking down what's actually going on with the latest virus stories. What's real, what's wildly exaggerated, and what can you do to stay healthy on your next cruise? By the end of this video, you'll understand the facts behind the two viruses everyone is suddenly talking about, Hantavirus and Norovirus, how they spread, why cruise ships get blamed for everything, and the simple habits that cut your risks dramatically.
Cruise ships have been in the news a lot lately. When an outbreak hits a ship with 3,000 people on board, it's headline news. But when 200 people get sick at a single restaurant, a school cafeteria, or a nursing home,
We never see stories about all the millions of healthy and happy cruise passengers that cruise every day.
instead we see the stories of the 0.18% of cruises that experience an outbreak.
If you've been following the sometimes sensational and alarming news stories, and especially if you've been reading through the comments, you might think that cruise ships are basically the most dangerous place on Earth. Are cruise ships really just floating petri dishes? There are a few myths out there, and honestly, it makes sense why people believe them.
So today, we're going to take a look at what the CDC and the World Health Organization and peer-reviewed medical research actually say. And we're going to separate the myths from the facts. Many people believe that being on a cruise ship means inevitably everyone's going to get sick. However, modern cruise ships have advanced sanitation systems and rigorous protocols to meet the standards of the CDC's Vessel Sanitation Program. There's a popular myth that the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, has been defunded. It is true that in April 2025, full-time employees of the CDC's staff related to cruise ship outbreaks were laid off. However, that decision was reversed 2 months later. The CDC still runs the program called Vessel Sanitation Program, or VSP. It was established in the 1970s, so this oversight has been around for over 50 years. Here's how it works. Any cruise ship carrying 13 or more passengers with a foreign itinerary that stops at a U.S. port is required by U.S. law to submit to twice yearly unannounced sanitation inspections. These inspections cover 8 major areas, including medical facilities, drinking water, galleys and dining rooms, pools and hot tubs, housekeeping, pest control, and ventilation. Ships are scored out of 100, and a score of 85 or below is a failing grade. Super fun pop quiz time! Why do cruise ships seem to have more norovirus outbreaks than on land? The answer is that cruise ships are required to report outbreaks to the CDC, and the CDC publishes the information to the public, making them more visible than land-based venues. What is norovirus? It is a highly contagious virus that spreads via food and water, contact with infected people, or touching contaminated surfaces. It causes a sudden onset of vomiting and diarrhea, which can last for 1 to 3 days, although the person then tends to stay contagious for several days after that. According to the CDC, more than 90% of GI outbreaks with confirmed cases are caused by norovirus. Super fun pop quiz again. What is the primary source of norovirus on cruise ships? The answer is that cruise passengers bring norovirus on board. Ships do not generate it. How about another? Where are you most likely to catch norovirus? Norovirus occurs most often in nursing homes and long care facilities where people eat and are living together for long periods of time. Okay, one more for fun. What percent of norovirus outbreaks occur on cruise ships compared to land? Actually, less than 1% of documented norovirus cases occur on cruise ships. Most cases occur in schools and nursing homes. Hantavirus has been in the news a lot lately, and there seems to be a lot of fear and misunderstanding. The situation centers on a cluster of Andes strain hantavirus infections aboard the MV Hondius cruise ship, first reported to WHO on the 2nd of May, 2026. Evidence suggests the initial case was infected before boarding land exposure. All right, pop quiz time again. How many hantavirus outbreaks have occurred on cruise ships? Prior to the 2026 MV Hondius outbreak, there were no recorded instances of hantavirus on commercial cruise vessels. One more easy one. What is the best way to prevent catching norovirus? The CDC says the number one thing you can do to prevent catching a virus is to wash your hands well with soap and water.
I've been living on cruise ships full time for the past 4 years, and during that time, I've never actually been sick with a GI illness. I've never even visited the ship's medical facility. I catch a cold or have a cough once or twice a year, but that's actually less than the average adult on land.
These are the tips that work best for me. Number 1, as the CDC says, washing hands is super important. But on a cruise ship, it's especially important before eating. Use soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Avoid touching your food. Consider simply avoiding any foods that can't easily be eaten with utensils. It's also important to wash your hands after touching high traffic surfaces such as shared utensils in the buffet, staircase banisters, elevator buttons, screens, and door handles. And finally, avoid touching your face.
Research shows that people touch their faces between 15 to 23 times per hour. It's often an unconscious autopilot behavior. So you may unknowingly transfer a virus from a public surface to your system before you have a chance to wash your hands. Your face serves as a primary entry point for pathogens. Viruses cannot typically penetrate skin, but your face contains several mucous membranes that are almost inviting for a virus: the eyes, nose, and mouth. When you touch a contaminated surface and then rub your eyes or nose, you're effectively delivering the virus to the cells it's designed to affect. So whether you're on a cruise, at a restaurant, or at a wedding buffet, wash up and watch those hands.
That's what I do to prevent the risk, but it certainly helps when everyone else does their part. On behalf of all other cruisers, please don't cruise if you're sick. And if you get sick while cruising, please report it as soon as possible.
Are there viruses on cruise ships? Yes, just like there are viruses in your office, your gym, your grocery store, and your kid's school. The difference is that cruise ships are one of the most heavily monitored, transparently reported, and actively managed environments when it comes to infectious disease prevention anywhere in the world. The CDC isn't looking the other way on this. They have an entire program established for 50+ years doing unannounced inspections and publishing every single result online. The numbers, when you actually look at them, tell a very different story than the headlines do. Does that mean you'll definitely never get stuck on a cruise? Of course not, but the data says your odds are remarkably good. If you found this video useful, please share it with anyone who's been scared off cruising by the myths. And always do your own research. I've included some helpful links below for your reference. Stay informed, stay healthy, and happy cruising!